quota systems and affirmative action in every area of American life. It's been a cancer on our national soul, and we're done with it. It means we believe in the rule of law. I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. That's why I will use our own military to secure our own southern border and our northern border too. That's what it means to stand for the rule of law in the United States of America. It means that we, the people, create a government that is accountable to us, not the other way around. That the people who we elect to run the government ought to be the ones who actually run the government. That's the core of my candidacy. One thing I get done for you as your next president, it's this. We will actually shut down that shadow government, the deep state. The three-letter agencies that are running the show today. You want to unlock the economy. You want to fix the justice system. That's how we do it. You want to drain the swamp? I'll tell you how. I'll fire 75% of the federal bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. by the end of my first term. Half of that we'll have done by the end of the first month. Actually shut down government agencies that shouldn't exist. FBI, ATF, CDC, U.S. Department of Education. We're not just reforming anymore. We're shutting them down. $80 billion from the U.S. Department of Education goes back to parents across this country who get to choose where they send their kids to school. The FBI, I said I would shut it down. Does that mean I'm against law enforcement? No, it means I'm for actually enforcing the laws with one standard. 35,000 employees at the FBI. 20,000 of them are back office bureaucrats making up the laws as they go along in the J. Edgar Hoover building. They're going to go home and find honest work. 15,000 cops on the front lines, we'll move them to the U.S. Marshals or to the DEA, which have actually been far more effective at fighting child sex trafficking rings or the fentanyl epidemic in this country. Takes a CEO to get this done. Don't use last year's budget as the baseline and try to massage it. That was based on the prior year's budget, which was based on the prior year's budget, all of which are corrupt. Start with zero as the baseline and ask what's actually necessary. That's how you fight the national debt in this country. This isn't controversial. This is common sense. And yes, to get here, we do need elections we can trust and believe in. What I'll deliver as your next president is minimal federal standards for federal elections. Single-day voting on Election Day as a national holiday with paper ballots and government-issued voter ID to match the voter file. It's not too much to ask. And I would say English is the sole language that appears on a ballot. These aren't black ideas or white ideas. These aren't Democrat ideas or Republican ideas. They shouldn't be. These are American ideals that we fought a revolution to secure in this country. And here's how we're going to get them back. It's going to be by all of us, not just me. All of us. Starting to speak the truth in the open again. Say in public what you'll say in private at the dinner table. Say it with a spine. Say it with conviction. Say it with respect. But part of respect is that you respect your neighbor enough to tell him what you actually think. And that's what this campaign is about. Speaking the truth, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. Not just to the Democrats, but to our own side in the Republican Party. And I want you to ask yourself, why am I the only candidate in this race who can tell you certain things? That the CO2 pipeline, making its way across half this state, seizing the land of innocent farmers, violating their private property rights, is unconstitutional and that I'm against it. That it's based on a climate change agenda that absolutely is a hoax because it has nothing to do with the climate. That Ronna McDaniel, the failed chairwoman of the RNC, needs to step down after 5 failed years of leadership. That I'll pardon every peaceful protester on January 6th during my first day in office because it's the right thing to do to stand for one standard of the rule of law for all Americans. Ask yourself why I'm the only candidate who can tell you these things. It's because our politics is corrupt and every politician is dancing to the tune of their biggest donor. And in my case, that biggest donor is me. I don't report to them, I report to you. the people of this country. Not going to be somebody's circus monkey, somebody's pawn on a chessboard. I'd rather speak the truth and lose this election than to win by playing some fake political snakes and ladders. Now, I bet that's the winning strategy. And you guys have a choice to make in about 18 days. So I'll end this by speaking a hard truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. Just by show of hands, we can be honest with each other. Who here, on my hands up, has been a staunch supporter of Donald Trump in prior cycles? Good number of you. If you think they're going to let this man get anywhere near the White House, I want you to open your eyes. It's hiding in plain sight. You think years from now, do you think that they're actually we're going to look back and say, oh, that was a surprise that he was eliminated from contention by one way or another? No. We're going to say, what the hell were we thinking? They're selling us the rope today that they will use to hang us tomorrow. Do not fall into their trap. The future of America First is standing right here in front of you. We owe it to our country to take our movement to the next level. America First cannot end with Donald Trump. It didn't start with Donald Trump. It started with George Washington in 1776. He was the first America First conservative. So do not fall into that trap. They will stop at nothing to keep, and I mean nothing, to keep this man away from the White House. But we're in the middle of a war in this country. A war between those of us who love this country and a fringe minority who hates this country and what we stand for. And if you want a general who's going to lead us to victory in this war, then pick a commander-in-chief who has not yet been wounded in that war. Somebody who actually understands the Constitution and can use it to lead us to victory. Somebody with fresh legs coming from the outside to lead us to the next generation. That's why I'm in this race. And so if you all do your part, I'm going to do mine to make sure that we still have 250 years and then some ahead of us. That we don't have to be this nation in decline, but that our best days as a country, not in some fake politician way, but in a true way to make sure that our best days are actually still ahead of us. With that, let me open this up. Thank you for coming out today, guys. Let's open this up and let's have a conversation. Give me the hard ones.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
those who are called forth for congressional testimony, right? They're answerable to our representatives, therefore answerable to us.
Yep.
And Stefani and Cruz and us, they give great sound bites because that's all we get. And in my understanding, Title II and Title 18 have provisions that say you can't give non-answers, you can't give false answers, you can't give deferences, you have to actually answer. So my question is, do you have a plan for how your DOJ
yep.
is going to deal with or bring accountability back to those who completely lack integrity and
Totally.
are almost certainly breaking the law?
Like Christopher Wray or other officials at the FBI. I mean, they haven't told us how many federal agents were in the field on January 6th. Why the Capitol Police just let people right in that day. Increasingly looks like it was the product of government entrapment. Same thing they did with the Gretchen Whitmer case. So I could probably go on all day on this. But what I'll tell you is we will bring accountability to government. Just because you work in that bureaucracy doesn't mean you're exempt from the same rules that everybody else abides by in this country. One standard of the rule of law for all Americans. If you're Anthony Fauci and you used our taxpayer money to fund the creation of a man-made virus in a lab in Wuhan, can't make this stuff up. They couldn't have made a movie. Could have made a more dystopian movie than this. Our own government is through the back door paying for the creation of a virus in a lab in China that comes back here and infects people and shuts down our economy for 2 years because of the same policymakers that advocated for that. There will be accountability on my watch. I won't be driven by vengeance. I'm driven by the rule of law. If you broke the law, you'll be held to account. And if you were wrongfully charged, you will be pardoned. From Donald Trump to Julian Assange to every peaceful protester on January 6th. Ashley Babbitt, I'm not God. I can't change the past there. She can't bring her to life. But I'm saying the people who are... But her mother was thrown in prison. Her mother absolutely will. Owen Schroyer, who was just shouting 1776, didn't even enter the Capitol. Douglas Mackey, who's actually spending time in prison for making a meme that made fun of Hillary Clinton supporters, that Christina Wong, the comedian, who did the same thing back to Trump supporters, she's celebrated with viral videos online as a comedian. What a funny joke, until the other guy does it, faced a maximum prison sentence according to what he was convicted with of up to 10 years. That's not wrong. That's not one standard of the rule of law. We've had two standards of the rule of law in the past. In 1860, based on your skin color, and we all know how to flog ourselves for that 160 years later. Well, the two standards of the rule of law right now is based on your political beliefs. That ends on my watch. One standard of the rule of law, yes, you're right about that one narrow issue. We will make sure people don't show up for hearings and just effectively dodge questions. That's not going to happen on my watch, but it's not just that. Anybody in that government who's broken the law, anybody who's pressured a private tech company or a bank to do something that the government couldn't do directly, that too is illegal. We will hold them accountable. We need accountability. We deserve accountability. That's how we revive this republic. And I will swear an oath to the Constitution. You deserve a president who actually keeps it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Right there, sir. And we'll come up here.
Yeah. So I have a question about your foreign policy. Who do you surround yourself with when you come up with your game plans or your positions, specifically when it comes to bringing the United States back to the top in the world?
Yep.
You know, our position back when I joined the military, most people here, it was our peace came to our strength. Right now, we're a laughing stock in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
What are your plans, or who would you surround yourself with that will bring America back to the forefront?
I think a lot of the post-Cold War realists are the ones that we're missing. People like James Baker. I don't know if he's the Secretary of State near the end of the Cold War. George Kennan is not with us anymore. But in that tradition, that mold, people who are realists.
But who specifically, like right now, like Tommy Franks or some of the former Joint Chiefs of Staff?
Yeah, I think a lot of the people who have been in the Joint Chiefs in the last 20 years are not my cup of tea. I mean, these are the people who took us into Iraq and Afghanistan, but did very poorly. I mean, the Taliban's 20 years later. The Taliban, for God's sake, is still in charge. Iraq is more broken than when we first invaded. And you could debate the policy merits of going, but if you're going to go do it right. Those are the same people, Lloyd Austin, who's come off of Raytheon, now suddenly deciding to send $200 billion of our own money to Ukraine, and saying that if we don't do it, that our troops are going to have to go instead, almost threatening our own system to make a worse policy error. And so a lot of the existing establishment, I'm not conspiratorial about this, I think it's just fact, is corrupt, actually. I think part of the reason why the Biden administration is sending $200 billion to Ukraine is that they paid his son $5 million. So I'm not looking for people who came from that same system, but people who actually are an era before that, the post-Cold War realists. So the people in that James Baker school. There's some younger blood too. Colby Eldridge, he's somebody I talk to from time to time. I don't know if you know Eldridge. Who is this? He's maybe a younger guy in his late 40s, but who's probably one of the leading people who's advising many of the U.S. senators on at least sensible foreign policy vis-a-vis China. So yes, we're getting it from the people who are outside of the traditional Pentagon establishment from the last 25 years, but people who harness that Nixonian and Reagan vision that brought us to the end of the Cold War. And I'll give you a taste of what my foreign policy actually looks like. Core priorities. Avoid World War III. How do we do it? Pull Russia apart from China. The Russia-China military alliance is the single greatest threat that we face today. And I worry we're driving Russia further into China's hands by the day through our failed policies. Nixon pulled Mao out of the hands of the USSR, not because he trusted Mao, but because we understood what each party's self-interest was. I don't trust Putin any more than Nixon trusts Mao, but I think that we can move Russia away from its military alliance with China. That's my top objective, avoid World War III. Number 2, declare economic independence from communist China. We never depended on the USSR for the shoes on our feet or the phones in our pockets. We depend on China for everything from 95% of our pharmaceuticals to most of our own military equipment. Even our F-35 jets are made in China. People miss that today. We can't depend on our enemy for our modern way of life. And the most important part of my foreign policy is to secure our own homeland in the United States of America. We're more vulnerable than we've ever been to incursions of our own border, cyber attacks, super EMP, electromagnetic pulse attacks that could take out our electric grid. That's the single greatest risk we face for wiping out a significant portion of the U.S. population, is an electromagnetic pulse attack. We're more vulnerable than we've ever been. Missile defense systems. Our own national defense spending needs to go to our own actual national defense of our own homeland. I'd sooner use our own military to protect our own southern border rather than somebody else's border in Ukraine in a conflict that doesn't advance our interests. So that's what I call realist foreign policy. And I'm surrounding myself with people who come from the Cold War and immediate post-Cold War era, and a new generation of actual outsiders who understand that vision rather than the neoliberal and neoconservative dogmas that have permeated the Pentagon for the last 25 years. Hope that answers your question. We'll come right here, sir.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested about, you've talked about the fourth branch of government. You've written about the fifth branch of government, and that's the asset managers. The BlackRocks, et cetera. And as an early investor in Strive and Drill, I can see just they're corrupting the boardrooms all around.
They are.
What can you do to stop that? Is
Yep.
there antitrust, or is there limiting institutional voting rights? What's legal to take that power away?
It's a great question. Are you from here?
Actually, I'm from Boston. And
I was picking up some Boston from you.
Traveling through to go skiing.
I was getting some Boston vibes up there. That's good. I like that. So that's good. But I'll tell you. So just everyone's on the same page.
We couldn't tell.
He's actually got it.
Not obvious, huh?
But it's a good question, and it's a question we should all be asking. So just everyone's on the same page. There's three asset managers, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, that manage about $24 trillion. That's more money than the U.S. GDP, and it probably includes most of the money of people in this room. It includes Iowa's pension funds, I'll tell you that. They're using our money to vote for policies in corporate America's boardrooms that don't advance our interests, and I don't like it either. That's right, it's bad. Like, she's got the right reaction to that. Climate change emissions caps, racial equity audits. That doesn't advance our financial interests. So in my most recent career, before I'm running for president, I started an asset management firm, which is the one you're familiar with, Strive, that offers the same kinds of investment products, but says we're not going to vote for those policies. We're going to vote for what maximizes profit for shareholders, so that pension fund holders and retirees actually make money with their investments instead of subsidizing agendas along with that to advance the left's dogmas. That's what I've been doing. Now, that's not enough, though, because the mother of all bureaucracies is the federal government itself. So what are we going to do? One is many of those asset managers are committing antitrust violations. The largest shareholders of BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard are BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. The largest shareholders of Pepsi are Coca-Cola. Supposed competitors, Apple versus Microsoft, Disney versus Paramount Pictures. It's the same three firms. That arguably is the largest antitrust violation in American history. That's the largest fiduciary violation, using other people's money to advance agendas they never agreed with. That's a breach of fiduciary duty. These are the most powerful companies in human history. They're more powerful than the Dutch East India Company because even they couldn't decide what you can and can't say. So yes, Biden has made this much more easy for them to effectuate. He changed the rules. The rules used to be that an asset manager who's managing your money had to maximize profit without getting your permission. They couldn't do anything else. They changed the rule to say that now it doesn't have to be the sole interest. They can also use it to advance other agendas like fighting climate change, using your own money to do it. We'll rescind those rules. A lot of that the fifth branch starts with the power of the fourth branch. Shut down the fourth branch, the fifth branch loses its power that way automatically. That's how we defeat the ESG movement, but you got to go to the head of the snake. It's the mother of all bureaucracies, the bureaucracy in the federal government itself. Shut that down and its unconstitutional rules. They're actually sending government money, which is the biggest swath of money that BlackRock and Vanguard are managing. That's how you actually end the root cause of that. I thought I was going to fight this through the market. That's why I started Strive. I didn't think I was going to be running for president a year and a half ago. But when you get to the root cause of what's going on, it all leads back to the deep state and the federal government. If I get one thing done as your next president, it is to shut down that fourth branch. Shut down that shadow government. That's the war we're going to wage and win. And that's how we get this country back. Great question, sir. Appreciate it. Right there.
Vivek, one of the emerging problems that I see coming on the horizon, regulators are sometimes good. You know, they protect people in certain areas. But what are your thoughts on the emergence of the AI and some of their capabilities?
Sure.
It feels like
I'll give my take on that.
Regulate usually wait until a problem occurs.
That's right. Sometimes they regulate and they make the problem worse too. Keep this in mind. So I'll give you a punchline on AI. Just to let you know, I mean, the person who's in charge, anybody know who's in charge of AI policy in America right now? Kamala Harris.
Well, at least we have somebody smart.
I know it's couldn't imagine a greater danger for humanity than Kamala Harris being in charge of AI policy. I don't think she...
Any chance we get you and her in a debate? That'd be a
I don't think it'd be much of a debate. It'd be something we could have. My requirement is, how about this? She's in charge of AI policy. If she can spell AI, I'll debate her. I don't think she can, so I don't think that debate's going to happen. But here's the actual reality. So are there risks? Yes, there are. I'll get to the punchline. The biggest danger of AI isn't just the AI. It's our human response to the AI. Tennis, professional tennis, they don't have line judges anymore. One of my first jobs, I used to be a ball boy, and then I became a line judge. They don't have those human beings. It's made by AI. Now, in the first generation of the AI, you could just see it with your eyes. It was making the wrong calls, but something funny happened. The players stopped arguing. See, John McEnroe used to argue with the human being, but when it's AI, you don't have no one to argue with. Now go to ChatGPT and ask him, what do we do about climate change or racial injustice? It'll give you an opinion like it came from MSNBC.com, but people read it as though it's converting degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. So that's the big risk with AI. So I'll give you a superficial answer and I'll give you a philosophical answer. The superficial and practical answer is protect children. Hard laws that any interface between AI, you have to have a hard warning. Kids below the age of 16 should not be exposed to algorithmic social media or any kind of other AI. That's answer number one. Answer number two is we can't adopt any bans in this country that China isn't also adopting. We learned that lesson with gain-of-function research because then we're in the worst of all worlds. Here's the right answer. Make companies liable. It's called strict liability. Make companies liable for the unintended consequences of what they develop. Right now, it's just an arms race. Microsoft or OpenAI or anybody else, they have no reason to hold themselves back because they're just saying, it's an arms race, let's get there before somebody else does. But if we tell them, no, if this has an unintended consequence, just like you're a company you can't dump in somebody else's river, you're going to be held liable. Then they have to take into account those risks on the front end. So that's not a complete solution, but those are basic steps we can take right now that we're not taking.
I'm concerned about holding American companies back while the rest of the world's racing.
That's exactly right. So I will never adopt a ban here that we're not adopting elsewhere. But any company that's doing business in the United States is subject to that same strict liability. So that's at least a basic step we can take. Now, there's a deeper, more philosophical discussion that we'll save for another day. But we also have to ask, what is it inside ourselves that makes us want to bend the knee? I think the revival of faith in this country, the revival of patriotism, the revival of believing in actually the true thing bigger than ourselves, that's our best protection against some of the greatest risks of AI. That goes deeper than just the policies. But I will say that that's at least a beginning of a policy framework that's far further along than any other candidates offered. And I think it's going to take a president who understands these threats. What's that?
Position on this.
No,
I feel like the people who could potentially do something about it ignored the issue.
Of course, exactly. And so I'm not.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to take somebody with fresh legs from the next generation to tackle the issues of CBDCs. I've offered comprehensive cryptocurrency policies, comprehensive policies to take care of veterans, to reform the VA system, AI policy and otherwise. Not all of this neatly maps onto the traditional Republican versus Democrat talking points, but I think it's going to take a leader who understands the actual essence. Yes, complex issues. That's because the threats today that we're going to face tomorrow are not in simple terms either, and that's a big part of why I'm in this. I saw your hand up, sir. I don't want to leave you hanging, so you can give me the final word.
I just had a question as far as, like, when it comes to, like, I've never heard anyone personally talk about it, but, like, when it comes to our personal, like, taxes.
Okay.
So if you want to earn more, make more money, a lot of people overtime.
Yep.
So, but a lot of people, you work 80 hours, you need half the money's gone when it comes to taxes.
Totally. So here's my answer. I'll give you
overtime, like taxes on overtime.
I'll give you a simple answer on taxes here. Two simple principles. One is my favorite policy. 12% flat tax across the board. Period. Capital gain, ordinary income, corporate, across the board. Eliminate the senseless deductions that are the product of corporate lobbying. Your tax receipt could be basically two sides of one piece of paper. 12%, period. Second thing is an issue for some people, but we got to talk about it because they're the people who matter the most to this country, the people who serve this country. I don't think people who serve this country should pay taxes on what they earn, period. If you're serving in the U.S. military, I don't want them to have a W-2 form they have to fill out. That money goes to their bank account and stays there. That's a simple thing we can do, and we've done the math on this. Has basically no impact on the federal budget.
And pay them enough so they don't qualify.
Absolutely. But the first thing we can do right now is immediate tax exemption across the board, and I can do that without a law from Congress. That's why immediately across the board. So 12% flat tax, veterans benefits and military compensation, not tax eligible. That's a simple answer to your question. I'll say this in closing. And
So are you saying active duty military would be?
Yes.
Or veterans included in that?
Both. Veterans benefits and active duty military, one is a salary and the other is a benefit, should not be taxed, period. Why would we penalize the people who have served this country? I mean, young people, we have a 25% recruitment deficit in our U.S. military. Young people say, this is how you treat our veterans. Why the heck are they saying, well, am I going to risk my life on the front end? And I'll close with this. That's what we need to revive in our country is our sense of national pride. When I leave office in January 2033, I want to tell you we did a lot of things. We shut down the deep state, most importantly. We grew this economy as a consequence. Actually moved our military to our own southern border, protect our borders in this country. Basic things I can tell you. We're doing it for this generation here. Our kids, we got the same ones running around. My 3-year-old's usually up here pacing back and forth when he's traveling with me on the road, so I love that. It's good to see you. Oh, Donata, I love this. I know Mater, actually. Is this from, from Cars 3? Yeah, we know plenty of that. So we're doing it for their generation. And of all the things I want to tell you that we did, declaring independence from China, staying out of World War III, the thing we want to do is revive our national pride in our kids' generation. I think every high school senior who graduates from high school should have to pass the same civics test that every immigrant has to pass to become a voting citizen of this country. You got to have skin in the game. Fill that void of hunger for purpose and meaning. And if we're able to do that, then I don't think we have to anymore be this nation in decline. I don't think we have to be at the end of the ancient Roman Empire. I think the truth is, as a nation right now, we're all a little young, actually. That's the way I want to see it. Going through our own version of our adolescence. Figuring out who we're going to be when we grow up. And when you view it that way, it makes sense again. You go through your adolescence, you go through that identity crisis. You lose your way a little bit. You do some stupid things. But we are stronger for it when we get to our adulthood on the other side. So no, I don't think we have to be that nation in decline. I think this is our last chance to say this. But I still think we can be a nation in our ascent. I'm not a fake optimist. I'm not going to come here and tell you it's morning in America, because it's not. But it can be. How old are you, man? 14. I can't look a young person in the eye and tell you the American dream is alive and well. It's not. It's alive and hanging on for life support. For small business and large business owners, to entrepreneurs, to workers. But it can be. So I'm asking you all to do your part on January 15th. You have a decision to make. 15 minutes of your time. Maybe it's 30 minutes max on January 15th to save this country. Tell 10 people who are in this community who couldn't be here today. Tell them what we talked about too. Bring them too. But if you all do your part, I promise you, my family and I, my wife Apurva and I, she saves lives every day. But she's in this together with me to save the life of this country. If you all do your part, I promise you we will do ours to make sure that we will look our kids in the eye and tell them, this is the country where no matter who you are, or where your parents came from, or what your skin color is, that you get ahead in this country with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication. And that you know what? You are free to speak your mind at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what we are running to. And with your help, that is what we are going to revive to save this great country. Thank you for coming out today, guys. God bless you and your families. And may God bless our United States of America. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thank you. A few minutes? Okay, good. Good. Thank you. Thank you,
This is our moment.
It's good to see you guys. Thank you.
Together, everyone in this room, when we do our part on January 15th, we can
Thank you
make
for coming.
this man
Appreciate
our
it.
next president of the United States of America.
What's your name?
Our
Joel.
team,
I like
Hunter,
your shirt,
and
man.
many others out in the hallway, they have contact cards. Please take a moment, fill
Is he
one
your
out.
son? No.
And if you are willing to take the inspiration that you have heard here today, and even willing to stand up at your local
grandson.
precinct caucus and be a
Thanks for
speaker
being-
on
Like to be a
behalf of
pilot.
Vivek,
What's that?
all you have to
He'd
do
like to
is
be a
check,
pilot.
become a
My son wants to be a
precinct
pilot,
captain, and our
too.
team will
We need
follow
more
up with you.
pilots.
We'd
We're
love
short
to
on
have
them.
you even
Takes
represent
discipline.
the
That's all it
message
takes.
and
I think you
inspiration
can do
of
it.
Vivek
I'm sure you can.
with others. So,
Yeah,
thank
you
you,
will one
thank you,
day.
thank you for coming today.
We'll do what we told you.
And God
Yeah,
bless the
it's
United
better
States of America.
you can give hope to the people around you too. So thank you. Thank you very much for coming with us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Yes, I would love that. Yeah, thank you. Come on over. It's
Hi,
good to
darling.
see you.
This is Joy.
Joy, it's nice to meet you.
I'm
Come on
Debbie.
over. Debbie, it's good to meet you. You guys live around here? Do you live around here?
I do. I'm
You
from
do?
Southern California, but I've been here for 8 years now.
Great. Nice to meet you, sir.
thank
We'd
you.
love to get a picture. What's your name?
I'm Robert Parks,
Robert, good to
retired
see
state trooper,
You
and
are.
business owner.
Good for you.
But now here's the bad thing for you,
What's that?
which I'm supporting.
Hi.
Well, I'll tell you this.
But you know what?
I've supported him.
I
Can I
love
tell
what
you
you
one
say
thing? Can I
about
just tell you
him.
one thing? I'm going to say this frankly. I said I would take my name off the ballot
Right.
in Maine and Colorado and everywhere else. They will not let this man
Yeah,
get anywhere near the White House.
right.
I think they've laid a trap for us. It's going to happen in about 6 months. Don't fall for their trap. I need your vote at this Iowa caucus to make sure you got a spare tire in this race, even if you're going to. Even if that's the way you think of it. That's what's required for our country. Do the math. I mean, they've duped us once. They man-made pandemic
Right.
to a tech-rigged
understand.
election. Do you think they're going to let this man anywhere near the White House?
Well,
All I'll ask
It's
is
tough.
think about that. Open your eyes. Don't fall for the
I
trick.
have
That's
one
all I would
question
say.
for you.
Yeah.
I used to be a Democrat, conservative.
Fair enough.
There was something in a clip in the news that were you in the Democratic
I
Party?
would, no, I wasn't. I was a libertarian. Yeah. Ronna McDaniel just said that because she wanted to jab me.
Don't want to
but, yeah.
interrupt. I'm just on
Thank
the way
you.
to the
Thank you for
restroom.
coming. I
Thank you
appreciate
for your time.
Thank you. I
God
appreciate
bless
you being
you.
here. Yeah, Ronna McDaniel. But I was a libertarian.
Okay.
But I'm a conservative now
Right.
because I care about the family and I care about some of those issues as well.
Exactly.
So,
So I just wanted to ask
Thank
you
you.
about that.
Well, we have something in common,
Because
you know?
they had something was in a little. You know how the stupid media is. They
Oh, my
say,
God.
he was a Democrat. and
Oh
he's-
God, yeah.
and-
Never been. Yeah.
well,
But I've been a libertarian though. I voted libertarian in my first election when I was 19.
Well, I switched
But I'm a
parties
conservative,
a while back, but they morphed into the
Oh yeah,
Communist Party.
And I think that many people, we can get many of those Democrats into our movement.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what we're going to do, win in a landslide.
thanks so much.
Thank you. Spread the message, brother.
Thanks
Thank
for
you very
talking.
much. Thank you. Time? Okay. Thank you. It's good to see you. I like your hat.
Well, thank
It's a good
you.
job to your hat. Thank you. Thank you for coming here. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We
It's
need
good to see
to
you.
teach the kids to watch news. It's good, but I mean, we don't have.
Got to
the-
think independently, right?
Well,
So-
they don't. There's no channels for
It doesn't
it.
exist. Well, it actually does exist via indirect mediums like podcasts and otherwise.
Yeah.
That's the way of the future. So,
'Cause there's-
thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Spread the message in this community. Hey, man.
glad to come meet the future of someone famous.
No, well, hopefully a person who can lead us.
I think
I'm going to
you
do my
will.
part.
I think you will.
You spread the message here.
I am going to.
I'm going to do my part, all right?
Thank
you,
you.
brother. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, brother. What's your name?
Dan.
Dan, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thanks for being here. How you doing, man?
Appreciate it.
Spread the
Glad you
message,
came.
brother. Thank you. Thank you. I'm
Yeah,
glad
it was nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
It's good to see
nice
you.
to
Spread the
see you.
message,
Yes.
guys. Good to see you again.
Good. Hey,
How you been? We saw you before, of course. Yeah, I smart questions every time. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I begged them to come with me because I wanted to meet you.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. I like the hat too. Hey guys, spread the message. All right,
absolutely.
You do your part in this. I think we win the Iowa caucus. I'm your
not
president.
from Iowa.
Oh yeah, you're from some. Where are you from?
I'm actually, this is my first time voting in Iowa.
Awesome, man.
I voted in Ohio before.
Oh, you did.
My wife worked at the Wexler Medical Center. So.
Like my wife is there. She's at the James. She's at the James Cancer Hospital. Yeah, it's the same kind of area. Yeah,
That's where I met her.
that's good.
Are you
Good
a
for you.
Bengals fan?
Yes, I am.
All right, me too.
It's a tough season, but you know we might get there. Good to see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very
Spread the message, guys, and thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Spread the message in the community. Thank you very much, guys. It's
Hi.
good to be here. Thank you. What's your name?
Kurt Schmelzer.
Kurt. It's good to meet you, Kurt. Thank you.
Got a question.
Yeah.
You talked about all the things that you
I just want to say hello to this lady we
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
up. Good to see you guys. Yeah, thank you
Yes.
guys. Yeah, we'll get a quick picture and I'll take his question.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Yes.
Me and Brenda, Aaron, are you here?
Thank you guys.
Yes.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you
Thanks
guys.
for the fight. I
Oh,
mean,
we're not going to stop till we get it done,
That's
guys.
good.
We're not going to stop till we get it done. I'm counting on you guys, all right?
It is.
You spread the message and we're going to get this done. You want to walk
Yeah, I
out
can
with us?
walk out.
Good to see you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Good to see you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, you brought the little ones. I'm really glad. Thank you, man. Hey, get our generation out, man.
Absolutely.
Spread the message, and we're going to do our part for these guys. So cute. Thank you for coming and bringing the little ones. Thank you. Thank you, man.
Thank you very
Means a
much.
lot.
I'm glad you
Means a lot to me. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Get your generation out.
Yeah,
Bring 20
absolutely.
people out. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yeah.
still walking? So
Yeah,
you can get
yeah,
out here?
yeah. They yank me by the hair otherwise.
Yeah, I hear you.
Can I get a picture?
Yeah, let's get a quick one, young man. It's good. Proud of you for being here. Your grandma. Glad she brought you.
His brother has a picture, so now he has one.
Future pilot. That's good. I'm looking forward to that, brother. It's good to see you guys.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, guys. I believe in this country, and so it means a lot to me. Thank you.
We believe what you're doing is correct. And
You do your part. I'm going to do mine. All right.
we will.
We're going to save this country. Thank you. Thank you.
God
You
bless
take care, guys. You live around here?
Yeah, we live in Bode.
You spread the message in this community. Bring a bunch of people out. We're going to do this. Thank you. I appreciate it. What's that? Oh, thank you. Hey. Thank you for keeping us safe.
Absolutely.
We've got your back.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate that. Take care, and we'll see you again when we're back. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, we was talking about how you're going to fire our 75%
Yep.
of the.
Yep. We are.
Do that in the context that you just go in and fire them, and why haven't they done that yet?
Because they're too lazy and they're afraid to be. They're afraid. You got presidents who are afraid. The law says you get to do it. The law says you get to do it.
The president.
The
has
president,
that right.
Article 2 of the Constitution. But it takes a president who knows the law to actually say it. I promise him one question. We got one question. We'll get one question.
Yeah, if we could just get your reaction to a federal judge yesterday blocking a law to ban LGBTQ books in schools here in Iowa.
What's that? How about this? I'm not familiar with this. I'm never going to react to something that I don't know, familiar with, hear it characterized. Ask me at the next stop.
Okay.
We're going to do that. They're going to Oh, disaster. Embarrassing. I think it's a total embarrassment for the state of Ohio to have a governor that couldn't sign a simple piece of legislation protecting minors. This didn't relate to adults. It relates to minors. Saying that boys should not compete with girls in girls' sports, and to say that kids should be protected from getting genital mutilation or chemical castration, I think it's a failure. It's a Chris Sununu-style move in Ohio, and I think it's embarrassing.
What do you think of his reasoning, though, that, parents know better than the state, that, if not for some treatment?
We don't apply that same standard to alcohol, to tobacco, to tattoos. So I think that applying the same standard, I think that this was the product of lobbying. That's what it looks like to me. Hospitals who were saying that they're going to make less money off of this or whatever. I can only speculate on that. But I don't think that reasoning holds, and I think even the lieutenant governor was brave enough to say that he would have signed that legislation. And so I do think that that's embarrassing, and I think that he deserves to be held accountable at the ballot box. Of course, he's not going to run again, but the point is it's the wrong kind of ideas that are represented by, in this case, a Republican governor. It's not a partisan point to me. We'll see you at the next stop.
Yep.